Narendra Modi. The name itself evokes strong emotions across India. To some, he is a charismatic leader, a powerful orator who has propelled India onto the world stage. To others, he is a polarizing figure, a shrewd politician accused of authoritarian tendencies and eroding India's democratic fabric. His tenure as Prime Minister has been marked by both significant economic reforms and rising social tensions. This begs the question, is Narendra Modi a leader who empowers, or a dictator who dominates? Understanding this requires examining the core attributes of leadership versus dictatorship. A leader inspires, builds consensus, and respects dissent. They empower others and delegate responsibility. A dictator, on the other hand, seeks absolute control, suppressing opposition and centralizing power. They rule through fear and coercion, silencing dissenting voices. Modi's style of governance, with its blend of charisma and control, falls somewhere within this complex spectrum. Modi's supporters point to his decisive leadership, his ambitious economic reforms, and his success in raising India's global profile as evidence of his strong leadership. They argue that his focus on infrastructure development, digitalization, and foreign investment has positioned India as a rising economic power. His supporters view him as a strong, decisive leader who is not afraid to make tough decisions for the betterment of the nation. However, critics argue that Modi's style of governance has become increasingly authoritarian, marked by a shrinking space for dissent and a weakening of democratic institutions. They point to the increasing influence of the Prime Minister's office at the expense of other branches of government, as well as the use of government agencies to target political opponents and stifle dissent. The media too has come under pressure, with critical voices facing intimidation and harassment. One of the most concerning trends under Modi's rule has been the increasing centralization of power. The Prime Minister's office, once a coordinating body, has become the epicenter of decision-making, often sidelining cabinet ministers and reducing their roles. This concentration of power, critics argue, undermines the principle of collective responsibility and weakens democratic checks and balances. The BJP itself, once a party with a robust internal democracy, has witnessed a consolidation of power under Modi and his close confidant, Amit Shah. Furthermore, critics allege that government agencies, such as the Enforcement Directorate and the Central Bureau of Investigation, are being used to target political opponents, critical journalists, and activists. Laws like the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act and the Prevention of Money Laundering Act have been criticized for their broad definitions of unlawful activities and terrorist acts, allowing for their misuse against dissenting voices. This has created an environment of fear and self-censorship, hindering open dialogue and debate. The question of Narendra Modi's legacy is complex and multifaceted. His supporters view him as a transformative leader who has put India on the path to becoming a global superpower. His detractors, however, see him as an authoritarian figure who is eroding India's democratic foundations. Only time will tell how history will ultimately judge him. One thing is certain: India's democracy, hard-won and fiercely cherished, is facing a critical juncture. The balance between a strong, decisive leader and a democratic system that safeguards individual rights and freedoms is a delicate one. The path India chooses to take in the years to come will determine not only its own future but also its place in the world. Will Modi's rule ultimately strengthen Indian democracy or weaken it? The answer for now remains elusive.